Hey, hold on real quick. Hold on. Pause.
Don't at me, y'all. Episode 32. Got myself, Mike Silva. Of course, my new gimmick is I got to wear a throwback jersey. And y'all can make fun of me for being cliche if y'all want, but of course, I've got to have the GOAT. That's stay on. In honor of the last stand coming to a conclusion, joined by Chance. Chance, what's up?
What's happening? I'm just cool, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what's happening? Oh, man, yeah. What's up? It's Chance, you know, back at it again. Like you said, it's episode 32, man. We OJ in here, you know what I'm saying? Killing niggas.
What up, Jock? Jock's in the house, too, or in the car.
What's good? What's good, people? Represent Astros. You know, baseball season ain't going on right now. We still in the whole controversy thing, but I'm still going to rep, you know, my Houston teams all day long.
I like that you went with like the one that everybody kind of forgot about, like the reddish orange and black. But I've been looking for those hats lately. I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, funny story about this. I actually got this from a coworker because he was wearing it one day. I was like, "Hey man, I like your hat." You know, he's like, "Well, I have a bunch of these." He's like an old school like veteran, military hat. So I gave him $20 and he gave me one.
Yeah, that nigga probably worked at the stadium.
Probably.
You got you one of those season
R-Mark.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, well, we're at episode 32. Couple of updates for you all. So first off, the website has been updated. It has all of our Spotify, all of our Apple Music, all of our YouTube links. All of it is found in one spot, even merchandise. So if you want to get some Don't At Me gear, you want to get some Play It By Ear gear, then that's where you'll go. The website is therep.network. So no .com, no .org, no .net. It's literally therep.network. And then go, and you're good to go. Then you'll also see that we updated some social media. So Twitter and Instagram, we've been at the Rep Network. Hey, cool. You're following us already, right? And then we also added Facebook, which was at Repertoire TPN. Facebook's being stingy. I guess somebody already had the Rep Network. So that is the @ on Facebook. Make sure you're following us on all of those platforms so you can stay in the new. And then we actually have a newsletter coming soon too. So if you want to subscribe, go to the website. You can subscribe and start staying on all of this info. With that, we're off, man. Let's talk current events in the new segment called Earlier. From, Friday, earlier. But really just current events. I want to start out with somebody's been in the news. I know I'm not bringing, I'm not going to have a take that people don't already have. But I feel like since he's back in society, we got to talk about this clown 6ix9ine. I don't get it. I never got it. I've never been a fan. I always thought he sucked. I always thought it was ridiculous. He kind of gives me like when I see him, he just kind of grosses me out. I don't know. And then he's snitching, and Snoop is even calling him on, like, why are we celebrating somebody snitching? I don't know.
I think I'll start on that. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to, like, give him even more clout than what he already has.
Exactly.
But anyways, I feel that it's a new generation, right? So he's making it seem like, hey, it's okay to snitch. And he was even saying that, like, hey, a lot of y'all snitched in the past, but nobody knows about it. You know, like, I was just upfront about everything, which I don't agree because we were born in a different generation. Chance, Mike, myself, like, we're brought from that era where snitching is bad. You cannot snitch, like, regardless of what happens. That's the street code and whatever else. But I don't know, man. He's a troll. He came back out doing the exact same thing that he did to get himself in there, and I personally can't respect that. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I can't disagree with what either of y'all are saying. It's crazy, man. It's funny that I was just talking about this with my boys earlier. Like, what he's doing now, he's not even just like snitching on niggas and shit now. He's snitching on the fucking industry, like on how motherfuckers get their streams and shit like that. Like, he's like telling on these people. He's really not gonna last, man. Like, he's like not. I mean, it's one thing to snitch on like street niggas and shit like that. But it's another thing to snitch on fucking like a corporation that like is worth like billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
right.
whatever. Like, I mean, if they have stream forms and shit like that, if that's how they get in their number ones, then that's what they do. They've obviously been doing it, But for you to come out fresh out of jail for snitching, it's like on some shit, and then come into it like snitching on a huge fucking industry, like yeah, man, your days are kind of numbered in my eyes. Me personally,
it speaks to me and like the ignorance of just like the mass people. Like the fact that he literally just there's no talent. I don't care what anybody says. I can't get down with any of his music. Maybe one or two songs y'all might listen to, but it shows because everybody's hate watching, right? He goes away, everybody's like happy. He goes off for what? Being involved with Treyway, this gang, and being involved in what hits? Was it hits that he was calling and whatnot? So for anybody that hasn't known why he got arrested in the first place, and then he just proceeds to basically lay down, bend over. With all that, I can't stand the guy. Obviously, don't wish any actual ill will. I don't know how the dude's gonna survive, man. Like, I mean, first of all, the snitching thing alone, and then like you said, just kind of airing everybody's business out from the industry. I don't know what the end game is.
Yeah, I think he doesn't really have
seem like a good one.
Yeah, he doesn't. He just going. It's literally, I think, day to day. Like, how can I figure out the most ridiculous shit to stay relevant or to do to stay relevant? And it's working. And I hate the fact that it's fucking working. Even in all the shit that he's doing, he's still the #1 talked about artist right now, which
always
grinds my gears. You know what I mean? But it's working.
Well, it's like Tiger King. You remember? I mean, that was in the middle of pop culture for like a month plus, maybe even more than that. I mean, people still kind of talk about it.
Right.
I mean, look at the people that we're celebrating,
Yeah, it's no longevity in it, like at all. I mean, people, they just how they move and shit. It's like all in the moment, like it. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucking just weird. Like how we as a society or whatever are like enamored by like these fucking like loser ass people, you know what I'm saying, that are literally just like clout chasing. And I hate that fucking like, that phrase, clout chasing.
Yeah,
shit like
clout chasing.
But like that's like exactly what it is, And I don't think that like clout isn't a currency, like that shouldn't be something that we chasing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I agree.
It may get you the bag and shit like that, but like that's dumb. We shouldn't even be chasing bags and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? We should just be like, yeah, like that's the end game to like most shit, you know what I'm saying? But like it's not good. Not the way that he doing it. Not the way that these kids are like following him and shit like that. It's not a good thing at all, man.
And that's the bad thing. It actually has influence on a lot of younger kids who are thinking, hey, that's cool. It's okay to do this. And it's not, because 6ix9ine, like you said, Mike and Chance, like I don't wish death on anybody, but the route that he's like going, he's moved how many times now? Like 3 different times. It's because of his fans, like spotting him, 6ix9ine, and recording it on TikTok or whatever, that he has to always watch over his back everywhere he goes.
He's going to be running for the rest of his life.
Yeah, so it's just crazy, man.
I don't get if it's just like circus acts we're just naturally like drawn to, or like people that look like they're from a cereal box, but I don't get it. I never understood the following. I still to this day don't. He's on Instagram just counting money. Like, what? That's
getting his hair dyed, his braids dyed.
It's like very just like flamboyant. Like, I don't know, it just bothers me.
Yeah,
it bothers me. Speaking of people getting like locked up, what's with all these NFL people getting locked up? I made a list because after a while I was like, man, like this is getting ridiculous. We had the Darren McFadden situation where he's basically just like unconscious at a Whataburger trying to order food.
That happened 2 years ago, right?
It was something like that. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. Like it was pretty recent, Got that. Redskins receiver, ex-Bronco, Cody Latimer. He recently got arrested for assault. Same day, Ed Oliver, I almost said Don Tolliver. Ed Oliver got arrested for DUI. Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker also caught up in some robbery scheme. And then even Earl Thomas, I think we talked about him on the podcast. Not that he got arrested, but he caught some heat because his wife got him at gunpoint because she caught him cheating. So, like,
that
what
was
the hell's going on? I guess the question number one is like, what the hell are these NFL players doing in quarantine? I have no freaking idea.
Wildin'. That's what it is. Wildin', man. The Earl Thomas shit is fucking hilarious though. Like that's just funny, man. Like you getting chased around like by like your fucking baby mama or wife and shit, like and her girls and like nigga they, you know what I'm saying? Like making you run your shit, like you know, like.
What do you think he was saying?
Bro,
Like, what do you think his excuse was?
I don't think he really had an excuse.
I don't know,
Honestly.
man.
Just
I don't
was
even
like,
think niggas be
you know what I'm
having
saying? Like, he
nowadays.
just want the fuck. Because think about guys, which is not right, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You don't have a reason to cheat or do what you got to do. You just can be in that moment like, I'm horny, let me do it. Like, it's literally like wasn't probably planned out. Somebody probably hit him up.
Sometimes the shit
DM'd
get
him.
thrown at you.
Yeah, that too. And then bam, he just did it, you know? I'm not saying it's right once again, but that you can imagine where they get girls all over them all the time, just throwing themselves, you know? So,
Bro, just like in the act that
this is baby mama too, bro. That's the crazy thing. Like, can you imagine this? Like, that's just wild to me, man. Like, you're in bed and your baby mama's about to, you know what I mean? Like, coming at you like that with the gun. Like,
I mean, what do you even
together?
do? I'd be like,
nah, she coming at me with the gun. I'm drop kicking her, man, for real. My life's in danger. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't gonna pull one back, you know what I'm saying?
Because now
she get locked up. Then hey, problem solved, right?
But now she fucked up her life. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think it's worth it, you know, personally.
What I don't understand is like, why is this only NFL? This never happens with NBA, never happens with Major League Baseball. It's like only ever NFL where like the craziest of the shit happens. Like
I'm gonna get a lot of shit.
The craziest of niggas.
Yeah, I'm saying, Chance. I'm gonna get a lot of shit for saying this, but I don't think NFL players are too smart or too like common sense, you know, because it's a certain pattern that I'm seeing, you know, with NFL players, like you said. So I don't think they think too far along like what they're actually doing, you know. And a lot of them are younger too. We gotta keep in mind they look big and older, but they're still like younger mentally too, you know.
They got fucking super buku money. Like, you know, like, they just be out here wilding. But like with the NBA, they actually like have like, you know, like it's more of a face to an NBA player than to a NFL player. You know what I'm saying?
Undoubtedly.
Like if you go out and you're in the league, like the NFL, like everybody's not gonna know who you are unless you're like really like a face of the franchise or like, you know, just like someone is like really a fan of the league. You know, with the NBA, like you can't really do that shit because you all face. You know, everyone in the league is like a face. You know, so I feel like that's why it's only like NFL because them niggas behind that face mask, man. You know what I'm saying?
And also too,
right?
And also too, Chance, to piggyback on what you're saying, like they're their own brand as well. You know, like a lot of people that are in NBA, they do other things like, you know, act. They have like more like, you know, avenues to take because like you said, you're actually seeing the person. You know, it's in front. Look at the Bulls, for example. They're like the Beatles of that era. You know, Dennis Rodman was wrestling, bro. NWO. You know, Karl Malone too. So it's crazy. You know, so you don't see football players.
Yeah. I remember watching that shit when I was a kid. I think the thing too with football, like Darren McFadden and Earl Thomas, I feel like if I was to see, I would recognize them. Like, I think that's definitely Earl Thomas. I think that's Darren McFadden. None of the other guys I mentioned, like, could I tell you what they look like, even after looking at their football card for a couple seconds. So maybe it's some of that, like, people see I'm a big guy and maybe think I'm in football, but they don't know, like, oh, that's so-and-so. Like, they work for NBA or, you know, baseball, just a bunch of, like, badikas anyway. They're not doing crime and shit.
Yeah. Unless they, like, you know, unless, like, you Big Papi, you getting shot and shit in fucking Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that shit's Dominican. Yeah. Back at the hometown. All right.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. That was, like, mad disrespectful.
In Mexico or something. It's like, hey, watch your holes.
Watch your holes. Orderly.
I can say that shit. I've got the brown.
You got the card.
Oh yeah. All right. Chess, I know you had the last thing we had on the docket for earlier was Obamagate. So I'm gonna just let you like dive in. I've heard the
I don't know what
phrase,
it is.
but like give people the background.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know it. Okay, so apparently, like, like I don't think anyone knows the background. Like Trump is like keeping this shit a secret or some shit like that. But he was like, "Yo, so yeah, there's the he like just randomly tweeted the biggest like fucking like scandal in like White House history or some shit, and he was just put like Obamagate. And it's like, what the hell is Obamagate? Like, explain more."
So I'm looking
Honestly-
at it now, and I mean, I don't know if so. Trump has repeatedly asserted, without evidence, that former President Obama and Biden were atop the purported scheme to punish Flynn and wound his administration.
All right. So I'm gonna say something really quick.
Yeah, no, go
Can you-
ahead. I have
can you
no idea
trust
what I'm talking
anything-
about, so you take it.
Can you trust anything that Trump is actually saying though?
No,
Like, think
no.
about that. Like, anything that Trump says, he can never back it up with factual stuff. He just literally blurred out shit.
Right.
So I don't really believe anything bad he has to say about Obama or Biden. He just saying shit because, like, he's in deep shit now with all the things with the pandemic and how you handle it. You know what I'm saying? So, let me talk more shit about Obama to, turn the
But it's
direction on him.
funny, that's always his scapegoat. It's like, yo,
Exactly,
I
right.
got some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see. Stay tuned. He's always like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, nigga, this ain't a fucking soap opera, fam. Like,
And
let us know. What is it?
All right.
he just
Exactly.
doesn't back down. He's just like, no, this happened, you're wrong, and just keeps going. You're just,
With no facts.
how
No
are we just
facts at
moving
all.
on?
No facts.
Nah, for sure, so, man. So, like, I mean, what is the scandal, though? Like, is it because
It's
don't
probably something he made up in his head.
Obama wore that tan suit?
Hey,
probably something.
I always think of that meme where he's leaning in the door drinking that cup of water or whatever. It's like "Miss Me Yet" or whatever it is. Like where he just
Yeah.
Yeah.
they always though. I mean, they had that with like Bush, "Miss Me Yet." It's just all propaganda.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I'll say this: like with Trump, I'm as in the middle as you can be. He does some stuff that I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And then I think there are other things that he does, and I'm like, all right, that was actually sensible, from a economical standpoint. So I'm as unbiased as they come, even though he's polarized, and it's like you love him or hate him. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
To me, the president itself is just a figurehead. It's just like, hey, here's our marketing for America. So I mean, obviously the marketing is getting wackier and wackier, and the fact that we're gonna have him and Biden in presidential debates, I cannot wait for that.
Biden,
First of
That's
all,
like the highest
funny
comedy of all time.
Yeah, it's gonna be hilarious.
like, yo,
Creepy
the
Joe.
big time is gonna be hilarious, fam. Like, it is gonna be like you're gonna have like one dude just like making stupid faces like the whole time, and then the other dude's just gonna be like rambling on and on and on about like fucking corn pop and how he like used to like like beat up
The
niggas.
kids used
and
to
shit,
rub his
like,
legs
in
down
the
and
50s
they
and
should stick
shit.
back
Like,
up. And
nah, Joe Biden a gangster, bro. He'll tell you, he's like, oh yeah, I used to. He one of those people that remind me, he's like, get off my lawn.
Well, the
yeah,
funny
Biden's funny, man. Biden's funny.
The funny thing about him too is like he'll just bring something up that makes no sense, and then knowing Trump, like he's the type that's gonna just argue for the sake of arguing. So he could just say some random shit like, Lucky Charms marshmallows are overrated, and then it's just nope, you're wrong. Next, and then just like talk over it, and it's like, well, Lucky Charms when I was a kid, and then I grew up in the vice president, and Obama always had it.
Obama always ate
you're
Lucky
wrong. You're
Charms.
lying. Move on. It's like, what are we watching? These are our best options. These are the best.
Yo,
Yeah.
America is sad, fam. It's like sad. This is a sad place to be, for real.
Everything, man. Everything. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think you would think we would have been, or we had leaders that are like actually smarter than that, other than Trump. But it's just everybody's just I don't know. It's very interesting.
For sure. All right, back from the break with random thoughts. My random thought. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say when this shit hits your head. I think it was like maybe in the shower or driving or something like that. But why the hell do we have a dominant hand? Like, why do we have one side of our body is like so uncoordinated compared to the other side? And I think about it, it's not like you only see with one eye or hear with one ear or, you know, anything like that. It's like, hey, everything has to be done with your right hand. So if you're left-handed, you're screwed, like scissors and shit like that. Like I actually have left-handed scissors, and I was like, what the hell? Like I couldn't figure it out. And then once I switched hands, I was like, oh shit. But again, like, why the hell? Who did that? God made a mistake.
Yeah.
He makes no mistakes.
Yo, first of all, before I even start with my take on that, you weren't just in the shower and shit like that. You were jacking off, nigga. I know what you were doing. That's what you, and you was like, yo, why does this one feel better than this
Well,
one? You know
but some people are ambidextrous though, so
I was gonna say that I'm good with both my hands.
Oh,
Anybody
word?
can catch these hands too.
Anybody can catch them. Yo, okay, well, I don't know. I don't know why it is or whatever, but I think that it's really kind of just a mental thing. Really, I think that we're actually like when we start to learn our motor skills and shit like that, like we kind of just like gravitate into just using one hand like that, you know. But why, on the other hand, people that are ambidextrous, you know what I'm saying? They probably at that time was like using both. You know what I'm saying? To like grab at shit. You know what I'm saying? Like.
right.
When they walked, they probably didn't like, you know, it probably wasn't an automatic right step than a left step. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
right.
the other way. Or they could be like, you know, left-footed and right-handed and some shit. And that just kind of balanced them out to where like, you know, it just worked out like to where by the time that they were, you know, 7th, 8th grade, shit like that, when you really start to like know yourself and your body and shit like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh, okay, I can write with both hands. Like my handwriting is good with both, you know? Because we can do all the shit that we can do with our right hand with our left. It's just that our mental and our, you know, it's not strong enough. Like, dude, you can see the definition of my arms. Like, look at my right arm. You know?
He's just
like,
trying to flex right now. He's trying to flex.
No, he's
I've been working out.
I'm
right.
serious.
And then look at left. It's just like
he flexing too. Fuck
nah, you flexing.
nah.
lame.
Hey, no, serious question. When did you guys learn how to walk, actually? Do y'all remember that?
When I was around, it was like 10 months to 1 year old.
I was like 5.
He actually taught me.
Jack was 5. Last week.
You lying, bro.
I actually have a theory now. Now I have a theory on my own random thought. I feel like you can kind of condition yourself to be ambidextrous. Like there are some things like picking my nose, I'm better with my left hand. But like you for real though, like there's little things like I can just do better that I'm like cutting my nails. Whenever I'm cutting my nails, I seem to cut them like when I cut right hand, cutting my left nails, it seems to be kind of like awkward. You know, it just seems kind of backwards. But my thought is like exactly what I just said with the scissors.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of those things where they're like, well, you either need like you can't have like a universal set of scissors. Like you're right-handed or left-handed, or like when everybody eats together, you know, if you have somebody sitting with right hand, somebody left-handed, and you're sitting next to each other the wrong way, you're gonna be bumping into each other. So maybe it was just like somebody made a decision like, fuck it. Like everybody's right-handed. That's what we're gonna market. Like that's what it's gonna be. And if people figure out left, they're the outliers. I don't know.
It was probably like,
but it's like who made these rules? You know,
like usually like this shit came from like kings and shit like that. Like how like it was like their ticks and shit that they had. Like how Spanish people, like real Spanish people, like talk with like a lisp.
Yeah.
You know, like when they speak Spanish, like that's because some fucking king had a lisp and was like, "Yo, you motherfuckers got to talk like me."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
to make himself feel more adequate and more like.
Exactly.
What is that? It's true, but that's so dumb.
But yeah,
common sense, people. Oh, that's a bad word, but you know what I mean. Just think a little bit more.
Common sense? No, that's
some people
need to learn. Motherfuckers don't have common sense.
Wait,
nowadays.
common sense is like not PC now? Like that's the new thing?
No, that word offends some people, so that's why like I'm trying to be aware.
Oh, if okay, well, people that are offended by the word common sense, like, yo, shut the fuck up. What? Why did it just bring up this fucking computer? Bring up fucking celebrities with coronavirus. Updated list.
It's the government, bro. They're trying to like keep it in our face. Like, hey, don't forget about the coronavirus. It's still here.
In case
It's
you
like
forgot.
90,000 deaths.
They like, yo, y'all niggas ain't talking about the Rona today. You gonna make it?
They're like, correction.
Look,
It's so
I forgot my
ridiculous.
thought, man. Where was I? I felt like I was getting something good.
We were talking about common sense.
Common sense.
Oh yeah, the motherfuckers that think that common sense is, you know, like a bad thing or whatever, they don't got no common sense. That's just what it is. I think if you get offended by something, like you just either like live that life or you just, you know, like, you know, if you get offended that someone's gay or some shit like that, you know, like
Right.
you probably low key like gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like if you get like offended, like
Like
you know,
in denial, yeah.
yeah. It's like it's a weird thing, man. Like I feel
No,
like
I definitely hear you, bro. Like I
Common
hear you.
sense, wrong. Moving on. Nah.
Yeah. It's a big world out there. That's all I want to say. You know,
That's
so,
weird that people are like offended
you gotta
by that now.
You got to respect people's opinions. You know.
Well, speaking of
Are they?
opinions, Jock, you had opinion on your random thought that you sent me. Well, I actually don't know your opinion yet. I just know the random thought, which is Max Kellerman's a rapper. I didn't know this.
I didn't even
Yeah,
look
so-
at that shit. I wanted to.
So backstory on that. So guys, Max Kellerman is a sports analysis. He actually started off with boxing. Like he was really big on boxing, and then he joined Stephen A. And so like he's a sports analysis once again. So if you see him like right now, you wouldn't think he's like super clean cut, super. Oh, I'm Max Kellerman, you know.
White.
Yeah. So
Extreme.
so one episode, him and Stephen A. were getting into it, and Stephen A. was like, "Man, you in the '90s trying to be a rapper, so you don't know what you're talking about. You was focused on your rap career." And I was like, "Wait, rap career?" So I did a little digging, right? So I YouTube Max Kellerman, and there he was. You know what I mean? Like he sounded like Eminem, bro. When I hit play, it was like I was listening to Eminem. Like he kind of had bars, low key, and I kind of respect him more. Actually, I've seen that video.
Really?
But basically, he was signed to Columbia Records. He actually got signed to Columbia Records in 1994, and he had a group with him and his brother called Max and Sam. Max and Sam, yeah. So like that little rap duo group, and then he went solo for a little bit. But he's not bad, and it's funny because he always give like hip hop references, and I'm like, like usually he's talking
Max
about
be on this hip hop shit.
right. But I thought it was like not legit. But now I'm like, okay, he really was into that shit because he was a rapper. You know?
Max
So,
Kellerman.
yeah, it's just funny.
Super takes.
Very random.
The most recent one that caught me was he was talking about the Warriors. I don't think it was recent. I think it was just
Andre
circulated recently. And he was like, if I get one person on that team taking the final shot, I want Andre Iguodala.
Yeah. I think Max trolls sometimes, bro. I think he trolls.
Nah, I think he does. I think he does that shit to piss off Stephen A.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Because, like,
Just
I
to
know
get a
Stephen A's
rise
probably
out
like,
of him.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I do too.
Because his reactions to things, he'd just be like, Max, hold on. No. Are you telling me? Like, what? No warnings.
Yo, sometimes we just look at the shit. Like with him and like Max and Molly, like they'll be talking about some shit, and Stephen A will just be like sitting there like, "What the fuck are they talking about, man?" Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah,
Sideways.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that was my random thought. Max Kellerman, the rapper.
That's
1994.
crazy. We'll have to retweet that so everybody can see and laugh at him.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
He wasn't bad though. He wasn't bad.
That's what's
Chance,
up.
you
Yo,
had some
there's
random
people
thoughts.
out there that, like with random rap careers that y'all you would know, like Tom Green.
Oh, I remember him.
I remember he
Tom.
made the Bum Bum song.
Nah, but I'm talking about like he was rapping. Well, with I think it was like not organized noise. It was organized something, organized crime, organized time, some shit like that. He was in a group and like Canadian dudes. They had a video and everything, man. It was like 1990 though.
He's
I
all
believe it.
straight up now.
Before he was on MTV, you know what I'm saying?
I believe that.
It was dope. But
Just like Andy Milonakis. I said that name wrong. Andy Milonakis. There you go.
yeah. Hey,
Remember when Andy Milonakis was like 40 years old when he looked like he was like
yeah.
10?
Yeah.
Hey, hold on real quick, and we'll come to my random thought. Y'all just chop it over real quick.
Benjamin Button. He had the Benjamin Button.
He sure did.
It was weird. I never knew that. I never that was one of those things that I had heard about and I was like, what? Nah. But it was also that time where you couldn't Google and just trust that everything you'd find would be accurate. I mean, you still can't, obviously, but now like we should if you have common sense, you can filter out what's fake news, what's real news, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I remember hearing that. I was like, what? No way. Like, rumors could still exist.
Yeah.
Even 15 years ago, where now it's like you can immediately go online and dispel most things, unless it's something like coronavirus that nobody knows what the hell is actually going on. But, you know, usually you can dispel most things that are true. I remember that was one of the last things that I remember learning, that I was like, oh shit, he is like 40.
Right, because like you said, I didn't really believe it at first either. I was like, nah, like this is trolling, you know what I mean? Like, to its finest. But you said it was true, but we didn't have access to seeing all those things. So like, shout out to Eddie Munster, man. Like, he wasn't bad, you know, in the bars, but I didn't take him seriously because I thought he was just like a young kid lying to everybody.
He had some moments where he was pretty funny. He had a couple other moments that were like a little bit cringeworthy, but the whole premise, it was like that whole era of, I guess like the first one was Tom Green, you know? Yeah. Then it was Jackass. Then it was, you know, then it kind of became like the ridiculousness.
Howard Stern too. I remember him.
Stern still, I mean, the crazy thing is Stern is still out there, man. He's what, Sirius XM? Like that, he's the reason people still have satellite radio for some people.
Wow. Shout out to Howard Stern, man. He's been doing it for a long time. Shit.
Howard Stern's the one that had the Brady interview, that Brady opened up and started talking about, you know, Giselle wanted him home more and you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, shout out to Howard Stern for sure, because he pushed the envelope too. He was one of the people.
He has some wild, you know? He has some wild episodes. I saw like the actual, it was pretty wild episodes for sure.
I mean, it's crazy too, because I mean, Shock Jock, it was radio, basically podcast before podcast was really a thing. But
so wait, is Howard Stern one of the founding fathers?
I mean, possibly? Not actual podcast, but yeah, because I mean, I feel like that kind of pushed a lot of people to go into that more like long form, you know, not cheeky radio. Like, all right, we're gonna go to a local radio station, you know, Roses after the break.
That's crazy.
Howard
Stern. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he started this shit. Yeah, really, he's the watch that show, man. Like. Oh, E?
Yes, E.
Like, yep. Like, oh yeah. That was the point I was gonna make. Is like, think about that. Like, if people try to do that now, how sensitive everybody is. That's not.
You couldn't do it on that platform,
right?
Definitely you could do that shit. Like, if we had some chicks, if I had somebody sitting in here from fucking like that had OnlyFans and shit like that, and I was like, oh, well, show me something you do on OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, we'd be lit, you know?
Yeah. The next evolution.
Yo, before I get to my random thought and shit like that, first of all, I just want to give a shout out to my nigga Brandon, right here. My nigga Brandon Flowers. He's actually sitting in on it. Remember I told y'all about the artist? My nigga Brandon, I'm going to show y'all there real quick.
Yeah, show him, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what Brandon Flowers. I was like, is that the same one? It's not.
Hey, what's up, man? It's a story behind that. There's a story behind that.
But my nigga, upcoming artist, he just dropped 2 tapes, man. Like this year and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, he, you know, like, real, you know what I'm saying? Got a video and everything. We'll link it in, like, the description and shit. But I just want to shout him out because that nigga been chilling with me all day and shit, you know?
Shout out. Make sure you follow your boy.
Okay, so my random thought just came about. Like, it was actually last night. And it was like, it freaked me the fuck out. But for some reason, I was talking to someone about the Munsters or whatever, like that show, you know, from like the fucking 60s, you know, like Herman Munster, Lily Munster,
right?
All the motherfucking Eddie Munster.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out Lily Munster's name or whatever. So I like go to like the Wikipedia page and shit like that. And I start reading this shit, and like, I see, like, you know, in the synopsis or whatever, that Eddie Munster is half vampire, half werewolf.
He's a liking and a okay.
He's half vampire, half werewolf. But listen, Lily is a vampire because her dad is fucking Grandpa Munster, right?
Right.
Which is, he's a vampire. So Lily's a vampire. Herman Munster is the fucking like the Frankenstein monster or whatever.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Eddie Munster's dad? Who the fuck is his dad?
Hey, good question.
Hey, some deadbeat.
That shit like blew my fucking mind. I was like, yo, son, Herman Munster's not Eddie Munster's dad.
Damn.
Yeah, he played a stepdaddy role. Okay. Yeah.
Yo.
Hey, even back then they weren't up to no good.
Yo.
Wow.
Shit, bro, that was like in the fucking 60s, man. Like 65.
Yeah, I know.
That shit.
You know
Like
what's
that
crazy,
whole
man?
series is in black and white.
I feel like it's always innuendos that we don't understand because we're like too young to understand, and then we understand when we get older. Like, dang, like it's a lot of deep stuff that they put into like cartoons and like shows that we don't get until now. You know, like years later. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do it on purpose or what. You know.
It's funny you mentioned that. I mean, you think about like all the movies we watch now or when we got a little bit older, like Pixar movies. There's like the little subtle humor in there for adults. The kids are kind of like oblivious. There are so many movies that I saw when I was a kid that I haven't seen since that like if I see it, I'm like, I've seen that. I don't want to watch that. I've seen that before. But really like I didn't see that in the same perspective, the same mindset. So like so many movies I want to go back and rewatch now as an adult and see like, all right, what did I miss like when I was younger and just couldn't understand?
Like Bambi.
Yeah.
Nah, look, I'll give you one better. The Lion King. Bro,
Yeah.
Nala came back, right? And she gave Simba the ass, right? You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, yo, I got to go back. you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, you know, he finally got some ass.
Yeah.
And shit.
Yeah,
Like, yo,
equity.
Yeah.
Had to get back out there.
The next king or whatever. You
Kill
know?
the cat.
Yeah.
It was all,
Facts.
you know, like, yeah, these cartoons and these fucking, like, TV shows and shit like that, man, they be trying to tell you something else, you know? It was like how we were saying, like, talking about, like, the movie, like, we were, you know, like, we were talking about Contagion and shit a few episodes ago. The dude of that, like, he was trying to tell us something, you know? Like, that's why that shit was, like, so well-researched and shit like that, you know? Like, that something like that could really happen. And lo and behold, you know, it did.
It really can. Yeah. And
Facts.
So before we
very much.
jump in our next break, I know you have one more, right?
Where's my phone? Did I?
You were talking about
Introduce it.
Woods.
Oh, okay,
Backwoods.
yeah. All right, yeah. Let's kind of get into this a little bit, man. Backwoods are like all for a stunt. It's like all for like, oh, all right, I want you to see me smoking this big fat ass blunt. Because if you think about it, bro, like if you really just smoking a backwood with like just two people, you could have got higher with a swisher, like a regular fucking swisher. You know what I'm saying? Like you like wasting weed. Like you know, like the cherry's so big, you know, like no, don't like I like smoking backwoods, you know, like don't get me wrong. It's like because it's like smoking a cigar, you know, it's a different way you smoke it. But if I want to get high, yeah, I'd rather smoke a Swisher Sweet, you know? Like, I feel like I'm already rolling like a whole gram to a fucking gram and a half in the backwood, you know? Like, that's just regular, you know? Like, you can't go smaller than that, shit like that. So, I don't know. I just think that that's just all like a stunt. And, like, people that, like, constantly, like, smoking and shit, they just kind of, like, stunting just because, like, they can.
Well, and I think part of it, too, is it's not easy to roll. So that's
like
part of the flex, you know, like people are like, oh, like, look what I got. I figured this out. But I don't know, like, what the difference is in the leaf. But, like, the backwood leaf just seems to, like, that nicotine just seems to hit me differently. I don't know what it is. Like, it just, every time, it's like, it's very sedative in a way, like, oh, shit. Like, I don't know if it's, like, a higher concentration of nicotine or what, but that's the difference for me. All right, coming back, we got Let's Get Deep, our love or just deep general topic segment, but mostly love because we know that's what the ladies like listening to. We listen, y'all. We heard your feedback. Chance, you actually had a good one. I think that can kick things off, which was, why do we hint at interest instead of just flat out declaring it? Do you want to elaborate where this thought came from? Like where it kind of, you know?
You know what? Nah, I don't want to get too much into that because I don't know who be like listening, who be watching, all kind of shit like that. But I mean, it just like give me the thought, like because like you have people that are interest or that y'all may have that mutual feeling of interest between like for each other, between each other and shit like that. But like nobody in those early stages, no one like really can just kind of flat out say it like, yo, I like you, or like, yo, you know what I'm saying, like you should be my girlfriend type shit, like like just like right then and there when you kind of know that, yo, like, nigga, I want her to be my girlfriend type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's funny though, because you in the past have said like you don't want to do the labels thing.
Nah,
I
I don't. But like, I'm not saying like I'm just kind of using that as an example.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
I
But
heard you.
like, like because like getting back out there, being single and shit like that. Like you come across like a lot of people that like you do have that. Like I said, like you have some type of affinity for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell, like y'all could both tell y'all on the same wavelength type shit.
Yeah,
But
for
like
sure.
no one ever just flats out say, all right, yo, this is what I want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like can we do, or even suggest it? You know what I'm saying? Like until like shit's deep. Like you got to get to like really like you fucking and shit like all the time. Like that's how it goes now. You know what I'm saying? Like the like constant sex happens like before like the constant like dates. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's such a backwards like ass way of courting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do we do that? Like, especially nowadays.
Jack, I see you're itching to get in there. I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So two things, right, Chance, and I agree. What you're saying. So in my opinion, I think that the reason why people do that is because fear of rejection. They don't want to get rejected. Like, hey, let me throw myself out there, and this person isn't actually feeling the same way, even though I thought they did, and it's kind of like embarrassing, hurts our ego, right, from a guy's perspective. And also, everybody plays games, bro. Like since the beginning of time to the end of time, people are always gonna play. It's a game with everything, and it sucks and it's stupid. You're right. You should be able to just say, hey, I like you. I want to, be more than friends, X, Y, Z. But it's not that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a game that has to be played certain months, certain weeks. It's too much thought into stuff sometimes when it should just be more simple than what it is, especially in today's times, with the pandemic going on and everything.
Right.
So that's my take on it.
And communication should just be easier. Like we have so many ways to communicate with each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's like we get and sit in front of each other. It's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is gonna be funny coming from me because I'm an efficiency kind of person. I like to just like, all right, A to Z. I know everything in between. Let's just cut to the chase. I'm very direct with that. But I also realize like when you have more things to do, you're busier. Your mind gets preoccupied in what you're doing instead of giving you time to just think about like, oh, what about this and that and the other. So I think part of it is like the whole cliche of like, enjoying the journey. I think also women like to be courted, like if you're just out front with like, hey, I like you. There's no mystery. There's no guessing. There's no, does he actually like me? I don't know. Susan, you tell me. It's like,
Susan.
cut to the point. Hey, I like you. Then all of a sudden, the thing is like that could open up expectations. And even if we are 30 plus years old and, sex isn't coy really anymore to where it's like, oh, we can't talk about that. Or let's not think that's going to happen. If we start dating, like, yeah, we're 30, that's going to happen. But I feel like
we're doing it before dating.
If you go in with that expectation, though, I think that's part of it too, though. It's like, all right, if we lay down a line and he made that move or whatever, and she's thinking, should I make that move back? Now all of a sudden, it's almost like it's weird. It's kind of put this pressure back, like over the head. Like now that we've laid it out there, something's got to happen. Whereas if you don't lay it down and like, here's what it is, I think they could also kind of like bounce out too. You know what I mean? Like on both sides. So I think that's probably part of the factors into like why,
Yeah, I agree.
But like, it's just like, I don't know, like maybe it's just like, experiences and whatnot. But like sometimes you'll be like, like everything, like, I mean, from, where you're talking to someone on the social media, like, and like, you're talking to them on the phone, like, or on text messages and shit, talking to them all these different mediums and shit, and then they come around and it's kind of like, all right, well, yeah, like we kind of know, like, like why you're here, but it's like, is that really why you're here? Like in a way, it's like I don't know, like sometimes it's like, how do we cross that line without crossing that line? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think,
now
and it's
hard, bro. Like, it's because you don't want to be like, oh, like rapey or some shit like that, but that it's like, it's there. So, like, I don't know, man.
or so think about that.
Hard nowadays, man.
Yeah, you think about that is you don't want to be rapey. You don't want to come across as a fuck boy either. Like, oh man, you're a fuck boy. That's all you want. And then I don't know, man. I think it's so many variables to that. Like it's because you feel like you want to make your move, right? Because you don't want to get friend zoned.
Right.
And like that can happen easily. When you get friend zoned, it's hard to get out of that friend zone. Sometimes it's like, we've been friends so many years. Like I don't see you like that anymore. So I know I can't speak for any other race. I'm gonna talk about my race right now just for a second. I feel like with black men, we're more aggressive, like with stuff. I'm being real with you. Like we kind of like, hey, this is what it is. Bam, like in your face, like what's up? And Hispanic got people too. Like you guys are aggressive too. So we don't play games like, we're gonna play the slow game and be friends and all that shit. We just let you know what it is. And like I think that's kind of off-putting to some women, you know what I mean, out there because they're not used to that. So like that's my thing. It's so many variables to everything, man.
Well, I guess if you want to look at it from like a societal thing too, being Hispanic, I mean, fortunately, I haven't really faced any kind of like that I can think of many times where I was discriminated against. I also think everybody probably just assumes I'm Italian or white. So they're just like, whatever. But, I think part of that, the more straightforward, assertive is I'm a minority. I don't get all the time with you, maybe always. You might not always give me the time of day because you might just look past me because I'm not, cookie cutter named, Bill and, my name.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, all right, like white guy, like they get more time, maybe more patience. Whereas like with the Hispanic, black, it's more like, hey, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I know I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna be real with you. Here's what it is. It's more just like boom in there.
Yeah.
Right. So my deep, let's get deep is thinking about just, I mean, obviously I'm very much out of the dating game. I'm married, happy, all that. But I always think about this kind of shit where I'm like, all right, thinking about people like Chance or any of the single homies that are out there just kind of like, what are they going through? So I'm thinking like, what is online dating like now? Like, what is dating like right now anyway? And I saw some article on Apple News that was talking about, people meeting up on dating apps and, after a while, it seems to be just like the same people on the same apps or something like that. And then finally, like now that people start dating, it's more of like they'll FaceTime first. And then, now they're meeting up, like going walking at a park with distance, right?
Distance, right.
We kind of saw this with like that cheesy, what's the shit? The Netflix show, the Too Hot to Handle.
Too Hot to Handle.
Where it's like, let's focus on the physical aspect later. Let's focus on getting to know each other now. Take our time.
Right.
Almost kind of like, against what Chance was saying. It seems like now because of the coronavirus, people are having to kind of like slow down and pump the brakes and not give physical because they're trying to be safe or protect themselves. So I don't know. I guess that was just kind of like a long-winded rant, but I want to get y'all's like take on it or thoughts, like because there was an article I read that I was like, man, what the hell is the rest of this stuff going to look like moving forward?
So I'll start. I'll be quick. So it was a friend of mine's birthday the other day, and so we went to his house, and of course we weren't really close. We were social distancing, of course, had my mask, gloves on, and so got over there. We were just chilling, talking and shooting the shit or whatever, and we're like, so how's everything been going, man? You got a new place. So I'm okay, like, tell us, like, how, shit's going. And he was like, oh, everything's going good, man. Like, I've been actually, like, eating out here on these apps. And so I'm like, really? Like, what do you mean by that? And all of us like, what do you mean by that? And so he's like, I'll show y'all what I mean. So he pulled his phone out, pulled out some apps, and, like, bro, the amount of, like, matches through Bumble, Hinge, all these apps he was using was fucking crazy. And he said the reason why is because they have these things called like surges or whatever. And so surges is like where it's a certain time, I guess, where you can get like more likes or swipes, or I don't know how he was explaining, you know, something interesting. And then he was showing me that it's actually more games or more like features that they actually added on these apps too to make you like match people even sooner or closer. And so I'm like, damn, all this shit's like new to us, of course, because, you know, we're, you know, like I said, we're taken.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, you know, shit's crazy. And so definitely right now, everybody that's single should get on that, because like once you, like you said, you can't really meet up in person and, you know, do whatever because like of what's going on. So you have to actually like meet the person and talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you got to talk to them and you got to like get to actually know them, you know, because back in, you know, in a day, it wasn't like that. It just was like, all right, get straight to the point. It is what it is. So now you actually getting to like talk to the person and know them more. And he was doing that. He was like, actually, like some of these chicks are cool. Like, it's not just about the physical. Like, I'm actually trying to know them. So yeah, so it's a different world now.
Yeah.
All right. So look, I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I'm not even playing devil's advocate at all. In the past 2 months, I've seen the complete fucking opposite of that. Yo, like real talk, other than like, you know what I'm saying, like motherfuckers, you know, that like I'm cool with and like we just kind of been chopping. If I met a motherfucker, like, and it's been like that, I hit that night. I swear to God, I'm not even bullshitting. It's happened twice, like literally. You know what I'm saying? Like in 2 months, and I don't be out there like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even go nowhere. And it's happened twice, nigga. I met motherfuckers and the niggas knocked me down that night. So I'm saying, like, that's just me. But I got off the apps and shit like that because these hoes crazy. I don't like the app shit, man. I've had bad luck with it.
So perfect segue, Jock. I know your Let's Get Deep topic was about dating apps in general, so I'll let you just jump in and toss it to us.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying, Chance, like I hear you, you know, it's two sides to a coin on everything. You know, right. It just depends on.
Well, maybe it's just me, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I just
right. It just depends on the individual. Sometimes you're just like, you know, whatever you got going on. But once again, I feel like everybody now, from what my homies told me and showed me, because he's showing me these apps, all of us, and going through each of them or whatever. Like, it seems like the women they're more open-minded to like giving you a chance to actually to talk to you and have a conversation, as to where back in the day it wasn't like that. It's kind of like just all physical. Like, okay, like, physical, because women want to smash too. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get it in too, just like us. You know, and so they can't do that now either. So like they have to actually like slow it down and like, okay, let me just talk to this person and see if I can actually get to like, you know, see what they're about. Like I have a close friend of mine's actually that's in a committed relationship right now from Bumble, you know, with this girl. So like, I believe that it actually can be like love to that, you know. At first I was a big hater and skeptic of it, like, nah, apps are just for smashing and that's it. You can't find love on that, you know, back in the day. But, you know, as you get older and wiser, and then like I said, my homeboy, what he's actually in right now, a beautiful relationship, like, yeah, man, it actually can happen, you know. So I'm a firm believer of that.
I mean,
yeah, I don't doubt that it won't happen or that it can't happen or anything like that. It's just that, I don't know. I've just been, me personally, with the apps, I've just said I've had bad luck with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met people and shit like that, but, like, they haven't been the right people to meet. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like, it wasn't the right people to meet to, like, be in a relationship with. Like, trust me, like, I actually, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, me and someone, like, we still cool and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met through there. Our relationship has grown past that shit. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, with the dating and shit right now, bro, I kind of just, like, you know, me being single and shit, I kind of just went back into, like, motherfuckers that, like, I started talking to motherfuckers that, like, I haven't, like, I kind of had something with, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have nothing with, you know what I'm saying? Because of maybe, like, I was in a relationship at a time like that. So that's kind of how, like, I've been doing, like, my dating in this past 2 months or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been, like, kind of like old hypes. You know what I'm saying? They're, like, weren't even hypes or anything like that. Or, like, maybe it wasn't even like that. Like, how we were talking earlier and shit. Like, you know, about, like, you know, like, motherfuckers they just want to come over and chill and shit like that. But then you realize you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, this motherfucker kind of fun to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right.
It's more substance.
Yeah. Right. But, like, the thing is, I already know these motherfuckers. Like, I've already actually, like, spent that time in that friend zone and shit
Right.
like that. So now it's kind of just like, oh, all right, let me see what's up, like outside of that.
I
Let
think
me
that's
take it a little bit more
That's-
seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you're reconnecting. You're kind of picking up like,
Picking up
I
old
mean,
slack, yeah.
yeah, and I always liken it to like business, like sales and shit, right? I
Yeah.
feel like if there's somebody you've already kind of developed a business relationship with, you're gonna have a higher chance of actually transacting with, right? Like,
Right.
so similarly, if it's somebody you already kind of have a personal relationship with, you probably have a better chance at one, keeping their attention because they already know you, and two, getting to know them on a different level. You already know them to a certain extent, so it's more so
Right.
like just catching up. What have you been doing the last couple years?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But I think, to your point, Jock, the question about, can you find love on apps? I think you can. I think it's really just the people that are going in. You have to know what you're looking for and have like, hey, these are some specific criteria. Now, when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, they have to check these
You gotta have big ass.
boxes. But like, you have to
Yeah.
have like, hey, we have common interests, or it really matters to me that they this, like you have to kind of do some of that filtering before,
Right.
I think a lot of time people just go in, they cast the big net, and then all of a sudden they're either stuck with shitty leads, people that just don't really click with you, or the ones that know like this is exactly what I'm looking for. They go in having an idea and being not closed-minded, but like, hey, at the end of the day, I know like you got to be into this, like you got to have
Right.
be outdoorsy, or you have to be active, or like like you can't go in like, because I mean, regardless, people have those criteria. It didn't have to be
You
she
can go and
this
find.
and that. No,
You got
Can't
your
go
types.
online.
Right.
have
You
to
got your
have
types.
type. Have to
Yeah.
have like personality mesh, But I think you can do it. I think it's doable for sure.
It's doable. Also, like you said, Mike, you brought up a good thing, and I probably mentioned this too, but you got to be open-minded. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're, you're getting older and stuff. Like, I know everybody probably won't admit this, but everybody wants to have a family and wants to settle down eventually one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you keep having the same pattern of doing the same stuff you were doing 21 versus age like 28, 29, then you just ultimately failing yourself. You gotta like grow up at some point and be like, hey man, let me just chill out and like let me actually get to know this person for who they are and not just try like smash or have fun and turn up, because like we're getting too old for that now. So that's what I feel like. If you're of age, you should start thinking more seriously about stuff like that.
The shit, so I'm a living testament to that.
Yeah.
I was saying, handle your shit.
Right.
Well, that's really all I got on the docket this week, gents. Did y'all have
Yeah,
any
man,
other deep
that was a
love
beautiful-
topics or just deep shit in general?
No, I just want to give a shout out to like all the fucking listeners, the viewers and shit. Our YouTube and shit is like picked up. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully like that shit filters down to like on Apple and Spotify and shit like that. Tell your friends about us, man. Like like we cool dudes. We actually want to sit in with like more people and shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like not like like this, but like we want to like kind of expand the pod to where we were like not just kind of talking amongst ourselves, but talking with other people. You know what I'm saying? Like to get other other thoughts and other takes and shit like that. So y'all fuck with us, especially if y'all doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta have pod links and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like because that's how this shit is like about to go. Like with these podcasts, everyone fucking has one. So like motherfuckers gotta start linking like how people like do features and shit like that. Cause that's like the way that I found out about more podcasts was listening to podcasts. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that's always a good thing. If you guys that listen to us have podcasts, man, y'all shit, get in the comments, man. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to us. Like shit, hop on a newsletter. You know what I'm saying? Like all this shit's coming, man. Like, like let's fucking network. Let's fuck around, man, for real.
Check us out. Go to therep.network. Find us on social media at therep.network for Twitter and Instagram. Then on Facebook, we are at Repertoire TPN. Jack, I know you've been doing a good job sharing the word, spreading, hey, check us out on the pod. I know you had a couple people listen to subscribe too, and we've been talking about the newsletter too. So you're rocking some Pierre style clothing right now, I can see.
I am.
I'm going to give a plug.
What's up?
Yeah, man. So like, excited to announce this, but I have some new merchandise coming out. that I'm working on actually. So I'm excited. You guys are hearing it first right here. So like Mike said, you just go to the website and we're going to have everything on there eventually. But, some new merch is coming out. And once again, thank you guys for supporting me and my Pure Star clothes. I know it's been a very long journey, but, things just keep getting better and better, with everything. And you have to just stay the course and just keep your eye on the prize, So like Mike said, just, continue to sign up, for the newsletter and everything so you can stay up to date with everything that we're doing and that we have coming out.
Check us out, therep.network for all your updates. Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You'll find us in all those spots. Make sure you follow, rate, review, tell your friends, and tune in next time for another Don't At Me. See you.